As our tracking satellites move between one another, we are going to be currently we're going to view us we're going to have views of the International Space Station flight control room. The ISS is currently 262 statute miles above Mongolia.
And we're back with you. We'll be looking for the turns on the upper right bolt.
Top right bolt released at 9 turns. I think it came out a little bit before then, but you're pushing on the tool so you don't feel it. But 9 turns on the top right bolt.
Copy 9.
You into the bottom left.
Roger.
You are currently getting a view of Bob Behnken's helmet cam as he finishes up untightening bolts on the H fixture.
Copy 8.
Từng bước một, chúng ta sẽ chiến thắng cuộc chiến chống Covid-19 lần này. Chỉ cần chúng ta cùng đồng lòng với nhau là được.
Cùng chung tay, nhất định chúng ta sẽ vượt qua thử thách này.
Quan trọng là phải ngăn chặn bệnh bùng phát.
Alignment, the only thing I can feel, sometimes you can feel thread skipping, I couldn't feel that, but I could feel it was with my trying to maintain alignment.
We copy. As Bob sews the PGT and preps the tools, the pliers, I guess, Chris, we need a glove hop and gauntlet when it's convenient.
Back, drag, gauntlet, big plate. Split, no change.
Copy.
Did you put both of the players in? Yeah. And then go for the wrench after you felt like it was released, so you didn't try to stage the wrench at all? Seems like it would just float out.
Yeah, for me, the pliers were not going to go anywhere, but the wrench was going to float away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's that sun again.
Yeah.
there MLI covering your?
Yeah, on one side.
Yeah.
Did you feel it kind of slide?
I think so.
Yeah.
With all bolts removed, Bob Lincoln is now trying to pry the fixture away.
And Bob, same words that Chris and I were talking about. If it helps, it is deceiving to me how far in the pliers have to go. And in the WVS, it looks as though the top plier, it's free now, but where you had it, there's still room for it to go in probably another half an inch before it will engage the detent.
That's the side with the MLI, right?
Yeah.
That top one looks pretty good to us now, Bob.
I think I got them both in at the same distance. It does take some oomph.
Yeah, it does.
A little bit slippery on that MLI as well. Okay, so now for the wrench. It's free.
All right.
Nice.
Good job with the tools, guys. I wonder if we could, the next guy's color, put some markings on there so that you know how deep the pliers go.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good idea. We'll note it. Same thing here, Bob. We'll be taking the H-fixture back to the bag with all your tools, obviously, and just looking to get some good footage of the GSE pad before you leave.
Success has happened. Both Chris Cassidy and Bob Bacon have removed the 1A and 3B H fixtures at their respective work sites.
And I'll get you some good pictures as well.
Sounds good, Bob.
What do you guys think? Bob, you need a hand, or should I make my way back to the APFR and stuff?
I think you could make your way back to at least back to your APFR.
Okay.
Right, and then
Get that organized.
Yeah, and then if you were gonna, I think we had talked about dropping a PGT there, so there's something to do. Might as well do that now, or you could just take it to the airlock, I guess.
And we think those are all good words, Chris. We have you taking the IEA APFR and crew lock bag back to the airlock for the APFR swap. But if you did want to work in a PGT drop-off or setting up the APFR for Bob, that's all good too.
Okay. I like the idea of the PGT just going in this bag. Medium ORU bag. That's what you're talking about, right, Bob?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it'll do.
We copy PGT into the ORU bag. And so then, Chris, just to make sure we're on the same page, big picture-wise, after you drop the PGT off, we show you collecting the IEA, APFR, and crew lock bag and taking it back to the airlock.
I concur.
Copy. And the one...
I've got several...
Go ahead.
Several photos here. I was just trying to manage the light from my helmet lights to try to give you something. But there should be plenty of pictures.
Copy.
All right, Josh, I'm giving up my PGT and its RET. And I've also given up my adjustable for the H fixture.
Chris, we copy all and concur. In terms of equipment, Chris, one reminder we had for you was the MUT end effector. We think you have the GoPro still on you, but that the MUT was left back, so we'll want to take that with us when you pass it.
Yep, I got the MUT end effector and an adjustable from it on my body.
Copy.
And the pry bar is also in the bag.
Copy, pry bar in the bag.
Don't quite close it up because,
yeah, just going to close one thing. Unless you want me to leave it totally open.
nope, I'm going to, you can close one thing, that sounds fine.
Yep, one thing closed.
And then for Bob, in terms of the bag that you're packing, we will look to inventory that when it's convenient for you.
Okay.
With the H fixture removed, Bob Ankin is now going to take pictures of the GSE pad or the work site that he's just removed the fixture.
I've retrieved the H fixture and its associated adjustable, and I will be making my way back down.
Copy, Bob.
Bob, your GoPro is right next to the bag, and I did turn it off for that battery conservation.
Thank you.
Copy, GoPro off.
All right, Josh, so I have with me my GoPro, end effector, and adjustable. That was all the GoPro assembly. And I have, I think I've tagged up with you, but I've given up a adjustable and a from my PGT and my PGT.
Chris, we copy all. We're with you.
Ready to the APFR left bag bundle.
Copy, Chris.
Moving it.
We copy. And for Chris and Bob, there's the 2-hour mark, 2 hours. We're approximately 15 minutes ahead on timeline. We have a 705 PT limited right now by Bob's Maddox.
705.
Wow, that's a lot of. Cherish that number, my friend.
Yeah. 705.
Affirmative. And with that timeline discussion, Chris, if you concur, we think you definitely have the time here to make your way out to the ESP2 with 5 for the APFR exchange.
Okay, I concur. Bob, I'm going to head out unless you need something.
Nope, I'm just putting tools in the bag and then doing the inventory that you keep not getting to do.
We are currently 2 hours.
We'll need a glove, hap, and gauntlet, but your discretion, either before or after the inventory.
Okay. My hap is still dry. My gauntlets are both up. And my right glove looks to still be in steam condition. And no change on my left glove.
Copy, Bob.
Just looked back towards structure and there's this big bright red light and I was thinking, what the heck is that? I realized it's Ritz.
Oh, it's Ritz.
Affirmative, it's on.
We are currently 2 hours and 1 minute into the spacewalk. The International Space Station is currently flying 260 statute miles above the North Pacific Ocean. We just heard Bob Behnken give a glove and hap check to ensure that there's no rips, scrapes, or stains on his gloves for continuing the spacewalk. I'm now going to toss it back to my colleague, Leah Cheshire.
An adjustable that I had previously retrieved from a fairly...
Copy, Bob.
Hook. Got it.
Thank you, Shaniqua. And we're coming up, actually, we just passed the 2-hour mark. In today's spacewalk, the astronauts set their suits to internal battery power this morning at 6:12 a.m. Central, 7:12 a.m. Eastern. It's been a successful spacewalk so far, and currently our spacewalkers, Chris Cassidy and Bob Behnken, are about 15 minutes ahead of the timeline. Their first task outside of the hatch was to install the RITS. That's the Robotics Tool Storage, a protective unit outside the station, providing thermal and physical protection for tools. They routed the associated cables for the RITS, and it is now powered on and working well. The astronauts then worked to remove the 1A H fixture. The H fixtures needed to be removed for future power system upgrades and were originally attached for ground processing the solar arrays prior to launch. After a little difficulty on the July 1st spacewalk with removing these H fixtures, we saw success today with the astronauts using a wrench and some pliers to remove those H fixtures.
Stand straight up.
Both the 1A H fixture and the 3B H fixture have been removed, and in the middle of those tasks, Bob Behnken also completed cleanup around the integrated electronics assembly, the work site for the previous 3 spacewalks.
Copy, Chris.
The astronauts are now cleaning up the current H fixture work site. You can see one H fixture floating in front of the helmet camera of Bob Behnken. Following this cleanup, they will head back to the airlock where they will conduct a safety tether reset in preparation for their next task. That next task will be preparing the Node 3 end cone, that's the Tranquility module, for the NanoRacks airlock. That will be the first commercial airlock on the space station and should launch on a SpaceX rocket later this fall. Following preparation of that work site, the duo will then begin cable routing. Following cable routing and a lens filter removal, today's spacewalk will be complete.
Hey Josh, in the medium ORU bag, I have a PGT number 2 with associated RET. That RET came from my swing arm. Got an adjustable tether to an H fixture. Got a second adjustable tether to an H fixture. I've got a RET to an adjustable with a combo wrench on it, another adjustable with the 2 pliers. There's also a RET, a trash bag, and a RET to an adjustable with Tybar and Chris's PGT. With an additional RET with a hammer and a PRS pen tool and its associated sheath. Both PGTs have batteries and wobble sockets.
Copy, Bob. Bob, just to make sure, the 2 pliers on the adjustable, is that on a RET as well going into the bag, that adjustable?
Into the adjustable with the combo wrench.
Copy, it runs to the combo wrench.
There's also one single free available RET inside of the bag, just tethered with nothing on it.
Copy. And Bob, that's a good internal config on the bag. You can pack it.
If you're watching online with us today, you can join the conversation by using the hashtag AskNASA. Submit your questions and tune in. We might just be able to answer them on the air. This one is from Kate, who asks, on average, while conducting EVAs or spacewalks, how many hours worth of oxygen do astronauts have in their suits before they need to head back inside? A spacewalk can typically last anywhere from 6 to 8.5 hours because each spacewalk has 2 oxygen tanks. However, the amount of time an astronaut has using that oxygen varies based on their oxygen consumption and the carbon dioxide produced by the crew member. That carbon dioxide removal system allows for that longer spacewalk. So as some astronauts consume more oxygen than others, they have a longer amount of time outside the hatch.
What my goal is.
Affirmative. The goal is 6 Papa Papa F6 with the APFR and ingress aid in that with 5.
Copy all.
And Bob, big picture-wise, we'll be taking the bag over to the with 6 APFR. But before we leave the IEA for the last time, we want to verify the PVR pip pin in place.
Okay, copy. The external portions of this bag looks like it's got a large, small, and a small, small.
Copy, a large, small, and a small, small. We're checking. Bob, we're just trying to make sure we have all the adjustables we came out with. Can you confirm how many you have on your person before we head in?
I have one on my wrist and one on my mini workstation.
Copy.
Clocked at 6. The 2 black lines are aligned on the locking feature. Wiggle, pull. The APFR with ingress aid is installed.
Copy, installed.
Quebec, moving Quebec to Papa.
Josh, I'm standing by.
And Bob, we're just trying to make sure on the adjustables. So the 2 fair leads you took out at the start of the day, we're tracking that one went to a bag and then ended up being used for a H fixture. Do you have the second one on you? Do you know?
The second one was just used for the second H fixture.
Copy. Bob, sorry, we're just doing a last-minute check. Stand by. And Chris, when you're able, we just wanted to ask you how many total adjustables you have on your person, and then we're going to move on from it.
That are not associated with this crew lock bag, you mean?
Yeah, it's affirmative on your mini workstation or your VRT.
0.
Copy 0.
Six, Papa, box 6, the pitch joint is locked, and the ingress aid is flat against the boot plate. The wire tie was not moved.
Copy, Chris. Good config.
Okay, guys, I'm going to just go ahead and move to check the radiator pip pin, and then come back to the bag, and then clear out of here all at once.
Copy, Bob. And it turns out we noticed the PVR pip pin in your WVS, so no need to head back over to it, and we're good for you to start translating.
Did you account for all the adjustables, or there's one more in this bag that I missed?
So we're still working on that. We think there might be one more in the bag that we missed. But to be clear, the consensus here is we'll get moving. We'll find it later.
I'm going to pick up my green hook.
Copy, Bob. So big picture here. Bob, you'll be taking the ORU bag and EP APFR over to the starboard seated cart. Chris, you'll be taking the APFR you just removed back to the airlock, and then once that's all done, we'll sync up for the tether work.
Okay, copy.
And my green hook is close and locked onto my red wheel.
Copy, Bob. Good config.
Josh, what's the clocking for this extender?
Yeah, so at the WIF 11 WIF extender, we don't have specific settings required. We just need you to tell us how you leave it. Low profile is the best.
This is the sticky one.
As our astronauts prepare for their next task, which is actually heading back to the airlock to do some safety tether resets, we have another Ask NASA question regarding the temperature outside the station. TJ asks, at what temperature does the sun hit your suits? At the closest point to the sun, as opposed to the furthest point away before darkness? As you can see, it's currently dark outside the International Space Station because we are in orbital nighttime, with the station orbiting 262 statute miles over the South Pacific Ocean. This means it can be where they are in or out of the sunlight.
And the blocking black lines are aligned on the WIF into the WIF extender, and the WIF extender is also confirmed locked in there. I think that's installed.
Copy, Chris. We concur. Good install. Chris, if just before you leave, make sure that pitch knob is popped out for us.
Is
Copy.
firm blocked. We'll open the thermal cover.
Your go for that. We see opening the thermal cover and stowing the bag.
My waist tether is closed and locked. The airlock D-ring extender.
Copy,
the
waist.
Crew hook side is closed and locked on my right D-ring extender.
We copy, Chris. Good config.
Okay, Josh, I've got the ORU bag bundled to the APFR, and it's the APFR is tethered to my BRT. I'm going to release the APFR, throw it on my BRT.
We copy and concur, Bob.
And Josh, I'm going to take an adjustable from the outside of this crew lock bag and restock my BRT.
Copy that, Chris.
You know, my BRT has an adjustable on it.
Copy that. And so, big picture, gents, Bob, we show you headed to the APFR to install that, or CETA cart rather, to make the install in WIF 5. Again, here we don't have any particular settings. We just want it low profile, and we'll look to hear those settings from you. And then for Chris, once you're complete with the bag ops there and the tether moves, we'll come back outside the airlock and walk through some of the PIP pin inspection steps.
Okay. I'll let you know when I'm ready.
From NASA astronaut Bob Behnken's helmet camera, this view right here, you can see he's holding the APFR. That's the Articulating Portable Foot Restraint. That gives the astronauts a place to secure their footing and work from whenever at a different work site. He's going to be moving that to a different WIF or work site interface near the CETA cart. CETA stands for Crew and Equipment Translation Aid.
Chris, I'm headed back inboard.
Roger that. I am secured to the in a load path manner to the airlock Uranus Center.
Copy.
We're currently in a satellite handover of our tracking data and relay satellite system, so you're checking out a view of the International Space Station Flight Control Room, where teams are monitoring systems aboard the station and the spacewalkers themselves. You might have noticed the crew members using GoPros throughout the spacewalk, and this question from Burton wonders what they are used for. The GoPros are used to capture video footage of the work sites before and after the astronauts' tasks are complete. That footage is afterwards sent to the ground for later evaluation. The GoPros also capture some pretty stunning video footage of the Earth, as recently shared by NASA astronaut Chris Cassidy on Facebook and Twitter.
Time and 10 EVAs going into the staging bay.
First time for everything.
Yep. Hey Josh, I've got the still camera.
Copy, Chris. And so, Chris, like you're doing there, we see as many pictures as you can grab. And the first bullet that the team here was interested in is just looking to make sure that the grounding strap wasn't pinched behind the pip pin and that there wasn't any other kind of FOD behind it preventing it from going all the way in.
Affirmative. Grounding strap is not pinched.
Copy that. The second question was looking for your thoughts on how or if it would be possible to tie the pip pin in place so that it couldn't come out. And options here were to secure the pip pin itself or to secure the lanyard that is connected to the tip pin. To install, tie down either of those with a wire tie. Let us know if you think that would work.
I'm trying to make sure I picture correctly the
Hatch closed.
hatch closed.
And Josh, I'm cleared to continue all the way to the CETA cart. Is that right?
Affirmative, Bob.
You want me to stop at this anchor point? Okay.
This view from Chris Cassidy's helmet camera shows the astronaut is at the airlock of the International Space Station, where he and Bob Behnken egressed this morning. Cassidy is conducting a PIP pin inspection, that stands for push and pull pin. Meanwhile, Behnken is on his way to the CETA cart, the Crew Equipment Translation Aid, to install an APFR. That's an articulating portable foot restraint. Once complete, he will join Cassidy at the airlock, and the two will conduct a tether reset before moving on to their next task, preparing the Tranquility module for the future installation of the NanoRacks airlock.
Chris, we see you taking lots of pictures. Thanks for that. Reminder here was that, if possible, we're looking for the still photos and GoPro.
One of the lanyards, I don't know if you, on the aft side hatch, there's an aft pit pin kind of back in there. The lanyard is wrapped around the spring mechanism. It's not part of the problem we're talking about, but I think it loosens up once the hatch closes.
Copy.
It's different from the other side is what I'm saying.
Roger that.
As Bob Behnken prepares to install this articulating portable foot restraint, you may be getting a glimpse at two small mirrors on his wrist. So good eye, Kess. He says he's currently watching the spacewalk and wondering what that mirror is. The primary reason the crew wears these mirrors on their wrists is to be able to see the front of their spacesuit because that's out of view. The labeling on the front of the spacesuit is written in mirror image because it's intended to be read via those mirrors. This helps the astronauts be able to see the switches and labeling on the front of the suit, including for things like volume, display contrast, and even their cooling settings.
Copy, Bob.
Clocking is 7. Clocking of 7. Pitches Papa Papa. Get you rolling, y'all, once the bag is off.
I copy 7, Papa Papa.
Feeling any better about that thing, Chris?
Well, instructions that don't move it in the bad direction, so they're both fully smushed in, you know?
Yeah.
So without moving anything, I'm not really getting any concrete data. I'm not advocating moving it. I'm just,
Yeah.
Chris, we have an ask here if you can point at the aft issue that you were talking about with the lanyard. Just point at the aft lanyard in WVS. Thanks.
the other ones are nice and loose.
Okay, copy. Thanks. It's helpful. I have one more question for you, and that's just your thoughts as you look at that on a pip pin replacement. So if we were to try to replace the forward pip pin, how's the access, and specifically, do you have access to the bolt head tying down at the lanyard?
Yes. You need a kind of IVA tool, but I'm sure the OSOs can come up with that plan.
Okay, copy that.
I think you'd need, like, I think it's called a universal joint that allows the tool to bend in 2 axes.
Roger. And for Bob, when you're able to look to confirm that the pitch knob is back out.
Yes, the pitch knob was back out.
And we see it. We see your finger action on the pip pin, Chris.
What else can I do for you here, Josh? I think GoPro's complete.
Yeah, we're asking around the room, but it sounds like that's it for questions we have right now. Thanks very much.
And the remainder of the settings are Foxtrot 9, Josh, for the APFR with 5.
Copy Fox 9er, Bob. Thank you. And so that's good. We're synced up at pretty much the same time between Bob and Chris. All we've got left to do is the anchor reset. So Bob, let us know when you're out there.
With Bob Benken's APFR, or Articulating Portable Foot Restraint, installed, he is now moving back to the airlock to join Chris Cassidy, whose helmet camera view you see here, for a tether reset. We are 2 hours and 36 minutes into today's spacewalk.
Okay, I'm at the anchors.
Copy, Bob. So you can tether to Chris's anchor hook. It should be on 3061.
Copy.
And then Chris, when you're ready, you can give Bob a go to release your anchor hook.
I am tethered to your anchor hook.
Roger.
Okay. I'm ready.
Tethered in the airlock.
All right, and I'll confirm one more time. On the airlock D-ring extender, my waist tether is closed and locked on the big hook side, and closed and locked on my right waist tether, or D-ring extender on the crew hook side. I'm ready, Bob.
Okay. And go ahead, Josh, for the next.
Affirmative. So, Bob, you're going to release Chris's anchor, and it's going to go to your red reel where the green hook is attached.
Okay. Just for everybody's awareness, I'm going to actually attach it to the waist tether that is attached to my suit. With the waist tether on there, there's not room for another hook on there.
Copy, Bob. We're checking. And Bob, we're good with that.
Chris's anchor is closed and locked to my right waist tether hook, which is also closed and locked.
We copy, Bob. That's a good config. You can retrieve your anchor hook from 3060, stow it on your mini workstation.
Copy.
Cover's closed.
Copy, closed.
Okay, I've retrieved my anchor hook.
Copy, Bob. Your go to translate to the airlock. Reminder on both CETA carts to double tap basically the last brake that you pass.
Copy. got everything we need for the APFR, correct? With 5.
Affirmative.
To be installed, a lithium-ion battery that is currently on the space station. The battery it will be replacing tripped last year and was rendered and was needed to be disposed of, so it was replaced with nickel hydrogen batteries. Those will be removed and replaced by that lithium-ion battery in a future spacewalk. This view of NASA astronaut Bob Behnken on his way to the airlock to meet up with Chris Cassidy. You can tell this is Behnken by the red stripes around the legs on his spacesuit. That designates him as EV-1, or the lead spacewalker for today. Today marks the 10th spacewalk for both Behnken and Cassidy.
March, or are you back? And I'm bringing back a medium.
Concur.
And we can leave the medium outside, or does it need to go back in the airlock?
Let me ask, Bob.
I'm right here with I got a hook foot away from me. It can go in there.
Okay, sounds good.
Like 2 seconds. It's the same effort, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Copy.
And we concur with that plan. We're also good for the medium or UBAG to stay outside, either option.
In this view from Chris Cassidy's, or from Bob Behnken's helmet camera, you caught a glimpse of the blue Earth below. That's the South Atlantic Ocean as the International Space Station flies 268 statute miles above.
Ready. Moving my BRT route. Okay. And you have the bag.
I've got the bag. I'm just going to real quick tidy up the camera.
Sounds good.
We copy.
Didn't melt. Okay. Camera without MOI is stowed in the staging bag.
Copy.
Going out, Chris. I'll get your picture.
Coming out. Where'd you go? Where?
I'm on the airlock.
A quick handover of that tracking data and relay satellite system. The astronauts are preparing to reset their safety tethers before heading out to continue the work for the day. The next task for them will be preparation for the future installation of a NanoRacks airlock.
Anchor hooks, I agree. Both my safer handles are down.
I can see both of your safer handles are down.
It looks like I got a non-retracting.
Just a little bit.
A little. Okay.
We copy Safers down. Can you just say again the remark about the non-retracting? Were you talking about a reel?
Take each other really out.
Take each other real. It's fixed.
Okay, copy. We lost you there for a bit of a longer handover, but next up we'll do the anchor resets. Bob's, yours going to the forward external D-ring.